You might already be going into a relationship and you might want to ask some questions to find out the person's background, so that you're at a stage where you're serious about the person and you want to see what could affect before you put a ring on the finger.
Is you still, even though you're giving, you have to value yourself.
True that.
That's the key thing, because I know if I talk about this, I'll talk about it forever. But so I'll stop there. But you still have to value yourself. You're giving, you're not a walkover.
That's right.
Right? But you have to have intelligent faith.
Intelligent faith.
The love therapy, all these messages, they are a blessing, because instead of fixing damage, you get to prepare.
It's exposing ourselves more than the person, and that's what relationship power is about. Really, this is what we learn on Thursday. How we doing, Robust family? And look, welcome. I know you're going to enjoy the episode coming up, and we have a lot more stuff on this channel. But before we engage on the new show, can I ask you to do me a small favor? Just robustly smash that subscribe and like button. It helps us a lot, and it makes sure that you do not miss a robust breakfast show beat. All right, enjoy. Good morning. I'm your host, Robert Ashitey, your robust presenter. And guys, it's that time to shine. Oh, goodness. This is your breakfast show. And we're going to be with you for the next 2 hours of power with that vim, gusto, and determination inside of the heart to start your morning right. You have been inspired for the last 27 minutes, but now we're taking over the baton. It's our time, and it's Relation Power Thursday. And joining us in the studio, we have the team, the sound team this morning. On the Colossus cam, we have the mighty. There can be only one. Colossus. Good morning to you, Colossus.
Good morning,
How
everyone.
art thou? Welcome, Colossus. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Colossus, your skin is looking lovely and golden these days. You just look so more charming as each day goes by, Mr. Colossus.
Thank you so much.
How glorious it is.
I take it.
What's it like living in the clouds, away from us mortal men? I don't have my notepad. I don't have my notepad.
It's good.
It's a good life.
But it's better when I'm among you.
Oh, every time he does it. Every time he's good. Thank you, Colossus. As well as Colossus this morning, joining us in our sound team, we have the new lady herself, the one who abides in the hills. But when they arrive, they make things stand still. It's the one and only. Can't be stopping her. It's Julia. Good morning to you, Julia.
Good morning, everybody. How you doing? We're alive, we're kicking. And if you're sleeping, bye. Not fair, let's go. I'm awake, I'm alive. Hello.
That's the stress. Soldier after my own heart. I think everybody.
You're a bed bug.
Don't be a bed bug.
Don't be a bed bug.
Don't be a bed bug. You know what's interesting? I think now our listeners are starting to get the gist of Julia's presence. I think they're starting to get it. If you're not in our Telegram yet, you should do.
Yeah, I had to, come in discreetly.
Discreetly?
Well, but now the act is over. I'm not.
That was discreet.
That's not.
Imagine when you're not discreet.
See, I'm not even good at hiding this. Sorry, guys, but I love you very much. But I would love you even more if you engaged in the BFS broadcast.
Yes.
Round table, arise out of your slumber now.
Yeah, the way she rolling, you're gonna find her at the window of your house. This lady.
Look, I know.
Absolutely. So as we got the sound team ready this morning, joining us on the table of justice, to my right, we have the lady, the one and only from Botswana, our favorite lady Shika. It is Teho.
Oh my God, why are you saying it like that, Mr. Robert?
Just let me have the win. Teho.
Good morning, everybody.
How you doing?
I'm glad to be here.
You gotta have an anthem, You gotta have your own anthem. Colossus, you have to work something there with the anthem for this lady, yeah.
Tell me a traditional song from
Not the
Botswana.
cow. Not the cow.
You have to catch the essence. Not the cow.
Not the what is it?
yeah.
One of those
One of
songs
the-
from
You
Zumba.
gotta think this out.
I can't use the South Africa because she's not from South Africa.
I know. Okay, well, you know what, Teho, how you been?
I've been okay, thank you.
Yeah, I remember-
I've been blessed.
Be closer to the mic.
I remember last
Can't
time.
hear you.
Last time. Usually I'll try and be discreet, but not this one. But Teho, so what's it called? I mean, it's been a while since you was meant to be with us the last time, but you got very super busy. And I know you've been busy. Right? But you ready for today?
I am ready for
Yep,
today.
super ready.
Thank you. I'm ready to learn and I'm ready to be used by God to pass as well.
man.
So I'm so glad to be here with you guys because I know I'm going to learn a lot from you guys. We always learn with being here together and also with the people here on the comments, with what they will share, engaging with us.
Yeah.
So it's an honor.
Yeah. And you know, you make power seem so gentle. It's fascinating.
I'm being discreet, not for too long, like Junior.
This
I'm
word
kidding.
discreet.
Let them rule you out. Stop acting. They know this is not you.
You know.
Stop the act.
You know the thing about breakfast show? I think breakfast shows where people could just be themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Right? I think it's safe, Mr. Robert. It's safe to say this is me.
Yes, indeed.
There's no acting.
That's it. We love that. All right, guys. So let's keep it going. And also to my left here on the table of justice this morning, we have the man, the only. It is Mr. Chris Brown. Now, good
Morning,
Hey,
morning.
Hey, how we doing, warrior of the Lord?
You know, I'm really good. I'm good to go, and let's do it.
You just speak, and I feel like doing push-ups. Like, I just forever. Sit your camera, please.
Like I said, this is early morning.
I'm about to say something.
Yes.
We need this energy for Monday.
Need this energy for my This is what I think
Monday
people.
is when we do the workout.
Yeah,
and
no,
so-
Wednesday wellness.
Wednesday, we did this on
Wednesday wellness. It's like, you know, it's been great. And you've been good. You've been
Good, real good.
Yeah,
Love the weather.
I'm looking for some more stuff from your YouTube channel, by the way.
Yes.
Cup of coffee.
Yes. Cup of confidence. Thank you very much. It's going to be right there. Cupofconfidence.com.
We got to put in a lot in the Telegram chat. Yeah,
Sure.
We have
Sure.
to. We have
We
to
get that
since the
there.
next one comes
Thank
out.
you.
So, guys, we're keeping it moving. Today is Relationship Power Thursday here on your breakfast show. We're really excited. We're live. We're wired. We're fired. Inspired. And today we're looking at the subject of love life. Oh,
Give us a lovely track.
amor.
Koham chair.
Yeah, amor. Yeah, amor. When Thursday comes, and maybe the week for you's been hard.
I don't know where to get this lyrics.
You know, 8 p.m. could be singles hour at 7.
Oh, 7.
You see him, she sees you, and you both connect instantly.
Oh my gosh.
It is J Amor.
Wow.
J Amor.
It's singles hour today, by
And
the
singles
way.
hour today. Yeah,
Yeah.
singles hour is gonna be nice, Cheryl.
Are you going to be that Sehos?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yeah, of course she's gonna be there. Sarah's a
We need-
soldier.
If
know
you
what?
need
I was listening
Sehos
to-
number, message me. I'm joking.
This one, I was listening to the testimony on the way about how the lady was saying, you know, the couple that gave that testimony, and they were saying that it didn't matter that she got someone in person as she thought she would, like coming to their brunch, but it was the fact that she used her faith on the altar, that she had faith that God was gonna bring one way or the other. Doesn't matter in person in her brunch or through the app or whatever,
somewhere
or
in the world.
because she said she used to attend singles hour as well. So this
Wow.
is investing. You don't need to go there and meet someone there. God can bring
Yeah.
somewhere
Yeah.
as long as you're doing the work.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
part. That's the thing,
Love
isn't
it.
it?
Love
Yeah.
it. That's it. Beautiful things, guys.
Kicked it off already. That's great.
It's kicking off already. That's how we go. So, guys, this is Relationship Power Thursday, and today we're going to be asking a really important question here, as we're going to be looking at elements of the love talk. So, oh, Annabelle sent a message. Okay. Annabelle, we always feel happy when Annabelle sends a message. So basically, we're asking the question: how can a to-do list fix a love life? Yeah, I mean, when we think of lists and love life, we've been trashing lists and love life, right? People come with a list. They gotta be 6'7".
I know.
Can't be an inch lower. Can't be
So I can wear my heels.
So I can wear my heels, and all these lists. It has to happen this way, right, Colossus?
Yes.
Everybody's gonna say something to me then.
Coffee question.
The morning coffee question.
MCQ.
Okay, chill, guy. We got this. All right. So, literally, that's what we're gonna be asking about the to-do list. Okay, how can it help save your love life? So maybe you're single. Maybe you have been in a situationship. You don't want to go through that again. Maybe there's been a cycle of things going on. To-do list. Is it something that's too systematic? We want to be more organic, or is it something that can actually be tied in? Look, guys, this is the Breakfast Show. We're starting the morning good, all right? So, look, it's Relationship Power Thursday, and it's good to have you all here this morning. And guess what? I want to show you guys a video just to ask you guys a question if this is fair or not. I've got a video to share with you. Check this out. Just ask yourself, is this fair? Because it's a situation with love life, right? It's a bit of a minefield, right? It's a bit of touch and go. We've got trauma to deal with. Human beings are very... we're peculiar creatures, and sometimes we have expectations and standards and lists in our mind that we want this new person in our life to live up to. Let me ask you a question. Is what we're going to show you now fair? We want to know what you think about it. Take it away, Colossus.
Daddy issues? I have reverse daddy issues, honey. A man doesn't want to do something for me? My dad would. You don't want to pick up your phone for hours? Crazy, because my dad picks up first ring even at 3 a.m. You're not going to pay for my food? Yikes, my dad would never let me reach for the bill. You're not taking the lead? My brain literally gets to turn off when I'm with my dad. Oh, you were busy? My dad worked days and nights and still had time to ask how I was doing. You raised your voice to make a point? My dad never needed volume to command respect. If you think that I'm going to settle for less than what I grew up with, good luck, because he literally set the standard.
Now, that's I mean, that sounded like a good positive, but there are lots of things to unpack there. Mr. Chris, what did you see happening there?
I just wonder, how's her dad doing? That's all I can think. How is her daddy doing, Because, it set a pretty high standard at the end of the day. But, sometimes there's a bit of idolization going on there.
Yeah.
At the same time, the daddy to the daughter's like, whoa, don't touch anything, don't do anything. And he's actually damaging her.
Yeah, I mean, could think about it, right? Because he wouldn't raise his voice, but he would speak very calmly. And
that's cool.
And obviously, as a dad, he's had as a man, obviously, with a daughter that age, he's had years of experience, years of time to manage his communication or whatever his personality type was.
Sure.
But what we're seeing is that her expectation, she's glorifying her expectation being what her perfect dad is like.
Yeah.
What her dad who has like 20 years or so over her is like, and she's like, I'm sorry, I'm better, I'm in a good place because my daddy was like that, and so this is what I expect from my man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a bit of
I like to see that guy.
Oh,
I like to see that guy.
Can I say something?
Yes,
From my point of view, for me, is like the way she's saying, the respect she's asking for is a respect of a dad, her dad.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean because she respect her dad like that, she's gonna respect her man like that.
Yeah.
Because it's different. Because basically, she have to learn how to respect her dad.
Yeah.
You don't have other choice. You have,
Yeah,
but when you know someone different, like it's not your dad, it's not your cousin, it's not like
That's right.
it's a new person. It's like getting into your life. You need to adapt what that person have.
And it sounds like she's in the dating arena, right? And she has a bar set. Sorry?
But it sounds
Way high.
arrogant as well, Robert. Like she's been taught, if she's been taught well at home, right? It's for her to probably not settle for less when it comes to, I hope I get my point across.
You mean like characteristics?
Because in a way that, the way she's presenting it, it's just so wrong. It's like I want this, if you're not gonna it's so demanding. It's so. I feel like really bad for the guy that's gonna marry
Guy's
her.
Gonna stay away. Guy's gonna stay away.
No, it sounds like the dad's gonna come in there and be like, "What you doing, boy?" And she's gonna be like,
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And he ain't being a dad. If he's not balanced in his mind, he's gonna be like, you gotta step up. You know what I mean? And put pressure on the guy. Not acknowledging that this potential partner, lifelong partner, is a new person, right? With who has to go through life, who has to go through that dance of love life, of relation that we've been learning in love therapy to shape and mold his character. You know?
Can I also add and say that poor guy is not her dad?
No, he's not.
You know, and he's not from the same background or a family set up similar to hers. So probably that guy never even had like a perfect father to teach her how to be a guy, or a mother to teach him how to treat a lady. So then the poor guy is there and he's just like, go marry your dad then. Like,
go marry your dad. Just stay single and stay with your dad. He'll be happy to take care of you. Julia, but you know what? That thing about it is this lady's speaking with authority. She's saying like, this is the standard that you should look at, ladies. This is how you should be. Right, which is, I think, it's quite dangerous.
Do you know what? Yes, as someone that's very like, they can probably tell. I will tell you how it is.
Yes.
But she looks like a grown woman as well. Right, I get it. Your dad set the standard. My dad has set the standard too. So I know I will not. I was gonna say something, but I might get cancelled. I would not settle for
a Gigi man.
CH. They will know.
Find the right word.
I will not settle for a. Imagine I'm the man. Oh yeah, babe. Can you? No, you need to be, because I'm already like that. But it's also the role of the woman to be humble. In my, like, for example, even in spiritual life, you get messages all the time. You want to apply everything at once, but because you have that understanding, you're like, oh yeah, this is where I can apply this knowledge. So what her dad has given her is amazing, but know when to use it. Because I'm sure your dad also taught you to not be. When talking to me, you have to be gentle. When dad tells you something to do something, you don't want to do it. Yes, dad, I will do it. You might even be. So can't be asked, but you do it and you calm down.
It's interesting to just say that, because imagine the dad had some very interesting qualities that she spoke about, right? But is she possessing those qualities?
Yeah, it's like she's trying to be the dad. It's like the relationship with dad and a husband. No, you're the wife. You're a woman.
Do you know what I mean? Because like she mentioned about how he speaks and doesn't raise his voice, right?
That part wasn't.
But she's raising her voice.
But she raises her voice.
It's like you were given such a good foundation and you're misusing it. It's like you're adding your own pride and opinion, your own flavor into it to prove that you are what you are. But just
it's interesting, hey Chris.
Yeah, that's interesting.
You know, it's funny because we see her, but she's actually a product of her dad. Her dad made her like that at the end of the day. Her dad probably idolized her, as I mentioned earlier on. So she's obviously been a sponge, absorb it and think this is the way it's supposed to be. So she's at fault, but she's not at fault in a funny sort of way. She's actually a product of what's going on in the environment.
Strong.
And many of us, we are actually products of that environment, you know. So we may look at it and think, oh, you. But I'd actually look beyond and say, your dad, you know, at the end of the day. So give and take.
We've got some comments then on live chat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Slindila says, I'm half and half about this. She sounds entitled. Well, you can say that again.
Yeah. That's the word. That's the word. She sounds entitled.
I understand certain standards, but the delivery, questionable.
Yes.
Yeah.
As much as she is setting standards, is she willing to give as much?
There you go.
As she's demanding.
That's
right.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
Lady Jazz says the only thing missing is that the dad forgot to teach. The only thing missing is that the dad forgot to teach her about is to respect others around her, including her partner. However, I think the dad's intention is to raise her child well. Really
Go,
good.
Lady Jazz. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Miss Janet says, I thought she was more like, I don't have to settle for less. You don't have to pretend to me. My dad set the bar and I'm not going to expect any less. I don't think there's anything wrong.
Okay, fair.
Kelly says it's not high standards, it's just standards. If a man expects the wife to cook for him like his mother did, then she expects to be treated the same, if not better than her dad did to her. Assistant Samantha, FPK, she says, I think learning from a good example of a father is good to help you to understand that you shouldn't simply settle for someone who doesn't respect or care for you. However, she's weaponizing that and not expecting a man to have the same expectations of a caring and respectful woman in return.
Sorry.
And then Miss Janet says, that's a confident woman, just putting a point across. Don't come at her with foolishness and don't have to expect foolishness. Have you
Oh,
seen
wow.
some of these men nowadays?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I think it's just the execute, like putting across
The delivery.
like
Delivery.
it sounds it sounds so demanding, it sounds entitled, because we're not all from the same
Yeah.
thing,
No, we're
isn't
not.
it? I mean,
no.
imagine this lady. Oh, I'm thinking guys will be afraid of her as well, because they're
But-
thinking, ooh, I'm gonna have to be that guy. Not that they don't want to be
Yeah.
the perfect partner or a partner
pressure.
that,
Yeah.
but they're just gonna feel like the shoes are too big to fill.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know what?
yeah,
It's interesting. For example, when we're single, we're as we are when we're single
Right.
men, right? And we just know that we need to do our best, whatever. And we come to meet Jesus. Now, if we're someone that's hot-headed, like I always use my example. I wasn't hot-headed, but I was very, let's go.
Right,
you
right.
know, I got married, ring goes on the finger. Come on. You know, it's
Come on, my friend.
But then what happens? Because we're involved with Jesus as a man of God, we meditate on God's word and we see how Jesus relates to people. And we see that Jesus is very patient.
Yep.
We see that Jesus gives room and space for the person to grow. We see that Jesus is very careful with his words and kind of brings things away to allow the person to think and to develop. So even though her dad may have been like, okay, he's on it because he's had years of experience or whatever, a person who is of Jesus will have mercy. The person who is of Jesus will have that care. He will calm down to allow the woman to grow and become what God wants her to do. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but in her eyes, she might see that as a weakness, if that makes sense. But before Jesus, he will start to take that road. You know what I mean? He will start to balance himself out.
Weakness? Explain it again.
So,
sorry.
for example, Julia, she's hot-headed, right? Not hot-headed, but I'm remembering, like she's high energy, right? So, obviously, you now, because of love therapy, you say I need someone who's the opposite to me. Yeah.
Hey, someone that is got a personality of a rock to balance out mine. I'm
Okay.
joking.
But the thing about it is, when a guy meets Jesus, guess what? He's not going to be a pushover, but he's gonna give room.
Yeah.
He's gonna give.
Got you.
Do you get what I mean?
Got you,
now, if
got
a
you.
woman's not in spirit, she will see that as a weakness. Do you understand? But if a woman's in spirit, she see that that's Jesus,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. You really packed that, to be honest, you know. And at the end of the day, she is there of the world, right? They're of the world, and as you said, when you come to Jesus, you do it differently. But before that, when I think of myself as well,
Yeah,
patience when driving.
yeah.
No, I still battle with a little bit of patience now and then. A bit of lateness.
I hear that.
Yeah, a bit of lateness. We got to be this time, that sort of thing.
I hear that.
But you do learn and you grow and you learn how to do things, how to actually pace yourself, and you fight with your own battles, little things. I say, look, all right, so I'm going to give that person a car distance, but it's really hard. Let's talk about the relationship sort of thing at the end of the day. I'm going to give that person a car distance, but it's still really hard.
Or the word grace.
Grace, yeah. I'm just trying to make it
I hear
visual,
that, I hear that.
But yeah, you are right. It's the grace at the end of the day, which you need for you.
Yeah.
Because whoever you are in a relationship, married, single, before or not before, right? Before coming to Christ, right? You're still working on yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're still working on yourself.
Absolutely.
You know? And she's wanting what's been worked on completely and is perfection, right?
He's an angel. He's an archangel. He's a cherubim.
There you go.
And that works as a cherubim before the throne of God.
I was just thinking when you said, the guy's still working on themselves, right?
Yeah.
It came to mind that that's how when we come to God, we're not like perfect, but we
we're
attend the love therapy
That's
and
right.
we
Yes,
learn, we invest in
exactly.
ourselves. And I'm thinking, this lady, something must have happened for her to say, oh, like let's say maybe the poor guy was busy, he missed the call. My daddy used to pick up calls.
That's very
She
right.
said that.
That
I
is-
think. She said that. I
Yeah,
think
she said that.
yeah.
She said that my
Pick up,
daddy
yeah.
used to pick up calls, and And I'm thinking, so that's something that must have happened for her to
Definitely.
respond like that. That
Yeah.
is so out of spirit, because
Yeah.
really, like,
Yeah.
we're trying to build something here with God, and we're like missing a call. That's a big deal. Like, really.
So there we
Yeah,
have
actually
it.
spot on in that sense.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. So look, guys. So we caught those little bits from that clip, that video, and these are people's mindsets. Right? This is people's mindsets. These people have different mindsets. They have different experiences. Maybe you had your parents, both your parents, or one of them. We all have a different background that it impacts how we are.
Yeah.
However, one thing we're learning about intelligent love is that there's a way that God does things, and that's what we're molding ourselves or breaking ourselves into every day. And clearly, this lady has set a standard, and I think she might be alone for a very long time.
Yeah.
You know, if she continues like that. We've got some comments there in the live chat.
Okay,
cool.
Kelly says, I was going to call in and add my 2 cents. I'll
Yes.
just remain in the shadows for now and ninja watch. Please do call Kelly. We're waiting. Miss Jenna says she could have been my wing woman at the beginning of my dating life. She also says maybe some men give those excuses, and then maybe they are the men that she was dating. But now she's saying, I don't have to put up with this, and this is why my daddy was not like that. My daddy didn't raise no fool. This is why we always talk about traumas, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
now it's
all coming out.
There's a root of where that is coming
That's
from.
it.
I love what you said.
That's it. There's a root.
I had to emphasize, because it's deeper than just, you know, the daily thinking of, no, I don't take, you know, my daddy didn't give me these excuses. It goes way deeper than
Yeah.
that.
Do you know that really
And-
makes sense, you know, because it makes me think now that probably, well, that's really smart, because it makes me think that she probably did not do what her daddy said before and went away, got hit a few times at the end of the day, then turned and say, my daddy does this, my daddy does, yeah.
Because I was also gonna say, Robert, you know, when usually in the church we're taught that we should when we surrender to God, right, we also surrender our essence, our being.
Yes.
And this being, this person that we are, it comes with the way that we grew up, the patterns, the habits, the way. How do I explain this? The like a certain way of doing things that we are used
That's
to,
right, yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
And I'm thinking, as long as you're holding on to that, you don't allow God to work in you. So you come to the love therapy with this thing. Okay, in my house it was like this, it was like that, da, 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 da. And then you're not gonna be merciful to the poor guy
right.
who God wants to give you, right? Because like
Poor
I'm
guy.
poor
I like
guy,
that, the poor
poor
guy.
guy, because hey,
You're right.
it's really hectic
For real.
in the situation. So you're not gonna be there. You're not gonna bear with the guy. And God says we
That's
should
right.
bear with one another.
Exactly.
We're not
Yeah.
gonna be merciful, like you were
Yeah.
saying, and because we come with this like this hot-headed
Yeah.
thinking, like,
Yeah.
okay, it's supposed to be like this, even though like some of the comments people were saying that, okay, it is standards, it's normal standards, but okay, but what is God saying? What does God want us to do, right?
Yeah, that's
because
right.
you keep holding on to these standards, you keep holding on to this certain way, this way of doing this is how it's supposed to be. That is just arrogance, and like I said, it's not, you're not allowing God to work and bless you.
All right, so
Yeah,
we're keeping it moving now. But I just love what you said about, to meet God, we have to surrender our essence. Right? So sometimes that arrogancy could be showing our stiff-necked,
Yes.
how stiff-necked we are about
Stiff-necked,
certain
yeah.
things
Yeah.
with God. It's
Yeah.
exposing ourselves more than the person. And that's what relationship power is about, really. This is what we learn on Thursday, you know? We're the children of Israel in the wilderness, and we don't know. We think we're the bee's knees.
That's
So
what it is.
all of these things come out. So we're asking a question today, guys. I don't know what you have to think. And Seho put it inside of our Telegram channel. How can a list improve my love life? All right. How can a list improve my love
To-do
life?
list.
To-do list. Sorry, my mistake. How can a to-do list improve my love life? How? Or do you think maybe it doesn't work, or it does work? We'd love to know what you think. I mean, Chris, I'd love to know your thoughts on that. You know, how can a to-do list help my love life? In what way do you think?
You know what? I'm sitting here thinking,
I
right? I
know,
thought
yeah.
I'm going to hit this one off the top of my head instead. I'm not even going to think about
That's
this, right?
That's it.
Okay, so a to-do list is good, right? It's got the good sides and it's got the negative sides, right? The good sides, if you want to hit the good sides first, or you want to hit the negative? All right.
Let's do negatives first, because
All right.
I usually, when I say bad news or good news, I will say bad news.
Really?
that's
I think
how-
you'll knock it out of the park then.
Okay, let's say the good side.
All right. The good side is with everything that you do, you have to have a focus before you do it, right? For you to actually have that vision, that goal, to actually do it, right? So it's good to know, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to, instead of going throughout the day and throughout just meandering and this might happen, that might happen, right? Okay, the bad side, not the bad side, but the negatives, it's like putting a list before there. And I'm coming from the perspective, I realize I have to explain this, I'm coming from the perspective as if like in your love life, and you ask for something, this is the type of person I want, this, that, and the other. If it's not in line with the will, chances are it's not going to happen. You're setting yourself up to be disappointed in that sense. But if you're in line and it's in line with your, do your list, man. Do your list. That's what I say, you know. Write down exactly what, you know, you think you want. But it doesn't have to be so particular that you make it actually hard instead. So
I hear that.
the list that you have, you got to be a bit flexible, but you got to have a list instead. And I think that's with everything that you actually do to an extent.
I love that. So it's not a bad thing so long as there's a flexibility.
Yeah, a bit of flexibility.
So you don't disqualify yourself maybe out of blessings.
That's right. That's
Okay,
right.
I
You
hear
know.
that. I hear that. What about you, Seho? Tell me.
I'm thinking, Mr. Robert, like it's a bit tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one, this one, isn't it?
Yeah, like what list are we talking about? Is
To
this
do-
like a list in your like
How would you perceive it to be? A to-do
Okay.
list in your love life.
okay. Well, to-do list, I'm thinking, let's say maybe a married couple, right? And then the lady does a list of, okay, what we're gonna do. Let's say maybe how we're gonna spend our money.
Okay.
Maybe how we're gonna help our parents. One of our
Okay.
parents needs us to chip in some money for something.
Okay.
How we're gonna spend our finances for this month. Most of the time, that is a lady does that,
Okay.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Because
I hear that.
men they don't like lists, so they just leave that work for the ladies. I
Normally,
think.
I don't know about that. I was with you all the way until you said that one. You know, I was with you all the
No,
way.
but I said usually.
You know, I've got my
Did I not
notepads here.
say
It's got
usually?
to-dos. I'll show you where it says to-do.
Okay. Let me just say one. Usually, there is one who's passionate about
Yeah,
the
yeah,
list.
yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
More than the
Okay.
other. Oh, I think that
So
way.
you're talking about day-to-day function, right? And you're talking about approaching a particular person or expectation.
Well, just to add to that, to be honest, when you first asked the question, you sent me that. I didn't see it said to do. I saw
okay,
the list.
okay.
So I had something else. So I said I'll shoot from my head. Then after, and you raised it, you said it says to do or what. So
Yeah.
yeah. But it still fits.
Yeah, because I was gonna, but I'm with you when you
Yeah.
said, I think when you are set on a list, you limit yourself from exploring, from how the day can go. Like if the day goes differently than you had planned, or something comes up and then it just messes up your list. Ooh, it can be
Yeah.
like. If you are passionate about your list, you can just lose your mind because you're like, but I had a list. I was supposed to do things like this,
Yeah.
you know, and then it just takes you off the thinking. Like you just lose your mood for the day because you're like, things didn't go according to plan. So I think you will get disappointed.
Yeah.
And most of the time as well, you are not in charge. God is in charge, right?
Amen.
So your list, it limits you with your limited
Perspective. Yeah.
right?
You know-
And God says his thoughts are higher than ours. So you just limit what God can do in other things. And most of the time when you just allow things to happen, not that you should not have a list, I'm just saying, right? Just adding, because I agree with you. I love lists as well. But just on a
And
different
I'm a man.
You know, because I can't function without lists, you know. In the VYG, I learned to appreciate lists. Because of the VYG, because we had so many different things happening at the same time, fundraising, tasks, have to be here. I learned to love lists, right? So so lists are part of my life. And I always have this saying that unless something's down on paper, it doesn't exist. If it's just floating in your head.
Oh my gosh, bars. Sorry.
Yeah, if it's just floating in your head, it doesn't exist. You know what I mean? You can't execute that thing. You can't move towards it. Those are my thoughts when it comes to lists.
Can I just add to that as well? And it's much to what it's just saying, because I think why we get disappointed and we put, which I learned from experience, is putting too many things on the list. Yeah, you got to time manage that in the sense of the amount of things you put through. Sometimes it's putting just 3 major things or 4 major things and do the others around it. That way you do tick them off at the end of the day.
Okay. So it is very broad. It's
Slinderly saying something,
Yeah,
because
go
I
ahead.
think it's going to help
Yeah.
our discussion. She says, this question is very broad. Are we talking about a list on how to keep the spark in the relationship, or what is expected from your partner?
It's more of perception on how a person sees a list. All right, we're trying to hear from each person's perception of a list. Some people's perception of a list may be more regimented. Some people's perception of a list may be to do with characteristics. So that's the question we're asking today. But usually when it comes to love life and we talk about lists, it's usually in a negative light from what we've learned. However, today Bishops is going to continue the conversation right now from the Love Talk seminar, and he's going to be speaking about a list. He spoke negatively about it before. We've not negatively, but not in favor of, right? But now we're going to go into it and see what he has to say.
I think I know. I think mine's a lot slightly different anyway, but yeah.
Let's have a look.
Okay.
All right, guys. So this is the Love Talk seminar, learning how to love intelligently. Okay, guys. So let's stay tuned. Let's stay locked on, and please keep your comments there in the live chat. Take it away for number 1, Colossus.
Let's read it out loud together. What is the 15th tool? There are people who love a list. Who says, Bishop, I love me a list. Who loves to make lists? You love to make lists? And people who love lists, usually they get married with people who don't like lists. Because the opposites what? Attract. But why a list? Because feelings don't change anything. Acting on feelings will make things worse. When we act on feelings, we are upset, we're angry, and we act on that anger, we never solve a problem. You see people who get angry with their TV, with their radio, and they crash that thing, that device on the floor, and in the moment feels better. You broke the thing that was making you angry, but now you have to spend more money to buy a new one. So feelings, they never solve any problem. And the to-do list is a well thought out to-do list that will give you a roadmap for what you want to change. For example, is it a good idea or a bad idea to go shopping with a shopping list? Should you go shopping with a shopping list or without a shopping list? Why? Because studies show that if you go shopping without a shopping list, you spend more money. And you end up leaving the shop without some of the things that you need. So having a shopping list helps you to focus on the things you need and prevents you from impulse buying. So when we don't have like a strict idea of what we need, what happens? We end up acting on our emotions. But in relationships, more than anything, a relationship is a very emotional thing. Usually, for example, when you buy something, you either buy something because you need it or you buy something because you felt like it. And the problem is that in relationships, because we are involved emotionally with a person, even if your relationship is a relationship of faith, you found the person in the presence of God, you are both of God, but because a relationship is an emotional thing, guess what happens? When we have a problem, we tend to try to fix the problem with emotions. We get angry. We say, what do we do when we are emotional? We say things we don't mean. Who hasn't been guilty of doing that at some point, right? You say stuff that you don't mean, and then you come back and you say, I didn't mean it, but you've said it already. You do things out of emotion, out of anger, and you end up, this is the difference between doing things pragmatically and emotionally. When you do things emotionally, you deal with problems pointing out the problems of the other person. This is emotion. Emotion is pointing out the problem of the other person.
Yeah.
But being pragmatic, having a list, is to make a list of the problems that you both have. Right? One thing is for you to say, look, you spent money on that thing, you shouldn't have spent money on that. You went to your parents' house and you spent a week there, I didn't like that, and you blame that person. Another thing is for you to say, sit down and say, listen, we have to do a plan in how we deal with our finances because it's not working. Let's sit down, and then you work together. Look, we have to do a plan how we deal with our families. Because of course, listen, during Christmas, right, you marry someone of a different family. In Christmas, there is one Christmas day. You want to spend Christmas with your family. But that person also wants to spend the Christmas with their family. And then it's a catch-22 situation. What do? If you're emotional, you say, but my parents are better than yours. My family is better than yours, blah, blah, blah. If you are not emotional, you say, look, we're going to find a way around this. We'll spend Christmas Eve, the dinner of Christmas Eve, which is the 24th, right? We'll spend with you this year, we'll spend it with your family. Christmas Day, we'll spend it with mine. Next year, we'll rotate. And so being pragmatic. But solving problems when you're angry, emotional, it's a problem.
Okay, so things are opening up right now on the subject of lists, and what Bishop has taken it down to is being logical and being emotional. Right? We hear about the subject of loving intelligently, right? And usually when it comes to faith, we are usually anti-emotion, right? However, Bishop is sharing with us that, guess what? Because you're in a relationship with someone, there's going to be emotion involved, especially if there's something that needs to be dealt with. But Bishop said very clearly that, you know what, the moment you start getting a list involved, it does a few things. One of the things it does, it makes you, because if you just speak, you can go anyway off the top of your head, and usually we attack the person. He said,
make things worse.
You can make things worse. But to make a list, you have to be logical, and if you're in spirit, you'll also observe yourself as well in that list as well, in order to attack the problem. Right?
Yeah. It's funny about that list. I just saw the other side to it. I thought, if you're gonna in a relationship have a list, you might have a problem about having a list, both of you, because this person might want to put down this and this, and this might put like, no, but I want to talk about this, and no, I want to talk about that. You know, that sort of thing already. So even before, we know that God has to be in it. You know, He has to be in it so that you recognize, like a mirror, what your faults are. You know, this is something that I need to deal with. You know, and we both agree on that. Now, the other side as well is that, put a note down, what you're saying is the emotions. As you said, we try and cut out the emotions all the time. There has to be a little bit, but it's when, you know, when something upsets you, the chemistry goes to the brain and everything just comes out the mouth, right? Because that blood flow just went up there with a rush because of the emotion at the end of the day. So we got to be kind of self-disciplined in that sense. I'm not saying let's take our emotions, we're robots. We've got to be able to look at ourselves at the same time as well. This is all about us at the end of the day.
That's right.
It's not about the other person, pointing out the person at the same time. If you're going to do this together, start thinking about what you have to correct, not what that you're going to correct about the other person straight away. And through that, it should actually come together.
Work. So long as we manage the emotions, to let the list be an objective observation, right, to tackle the problem.
Much so. And in saying that as well, also Bishop mentioned about, he used the example, if you went to the shops and if you didn't have a list, buy so much, and that's true, right? Don't go to the shop without having a focus about what you want. Back to when we was talking about listing in the beginning, right? So the other thing as well is it actually helps. A list does help about all these things. I mean, I was going to say more than that, but I'm going to give some more space.
Yeah,
anyway.
because you know when you just touched on the shop, and I know you're going to bounce straight off that, chime straight off that. You know when you go to the shop and you end up, was it not you panic buying, or you just you just grab, right? Because of course, impulsive buying because of your feelings, without a structure. Like a list, in order when you're having a conversation, sometimes you can impulsively speak.
That's right.
You can impulsively grab just to get one under the under the rib cage of the partner, spiritually, emotionally speaking. You know what I mean? And it won't actually deal with the problem. It's just more impulse if we're just allowed to do what we want.
Got to be good to listen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
so
Seho.
Go ahead.
This is so good because I'm thinking. Rather than looking at it as it's like a list, it's like making a plan so you don't find yourself in that situation where emotions are just bouncing all over the place and you're saying stuff and it does not help. Right? Because Bishop was talking about how the shopping list is a well thought out list of everything that you need. It's not just gonna be anything, right?
That's right.
So anyways, I was thinking practically a couple can actually, before they get to a situation, because we're two different people, two different backgrounds, two different upbringings, two different personalities. So we sit down and we make this list to say, you know what, I like things this way. I'm a bit OCD-ish, right? I like to tidy up after someone has tidied up because I feel like it's not tidy if it's not me who's tidied up the place. Because if we don't talk about these things, no matter how small they are, if we don't make a list of these things, no matter how small they are, once we get to a situation, we are there, you just tidy up and I'm tidying up after you and you feel often like, but I just cleaned. Yeah, but and now the other person feels like, yeah, but are you trying to say that you clean better than me? Right. Because emotions are involved. It's a couple, so we are involved emotionally. So things are about to emotionally, right? But we don't need. So it's like preparation, right? Before we get to that situation. I hope I'm making sense.
No, mate, there's clarity. There's clarity in that.
So Bishop was also talking about. I like how it sounds like a list and we thought money, but he also said, we make a list of, we make a plan of, okay, last year we spent Christmas with your family. Now we can, we can spend Christmas with your family this year. Because if we don't talk about those things, it's going to be like, no, but my mom is like, and then that's your mom is like, and then we don't follow that list because maybe let's say your mom is not well this year. And you're like, yeah, but we've spent Christmas with your mom last year, but your mom is not well this year. And you're like, but we need to go to my mom. And then the list is there like, no, but we need to spend Christmas with my mom because, So I think this is the love therapy. All these messages, they are a blessing because instead of fixing damage, you get to prepare say, okay, we're two different people. How can we bear with one another? I like things this way. Maybe you like things this way. And we make a list of all these things. And then you're not going to raise your voice at me when we're in the middle of a conversation because I told you no. You know what? Maybe even in details, I can be like, you know what? I came from this abusive relationship in the past and I don't I'm working on it no matter depending on which stage you are. I'm working on it, I'm dealing with it, but I prefer not being shouted at or not being screamed at, like what that lady was saying, like when you're making your point across and then you're raising your voice. I don't think I like I prefer someone shouting at me, even if there's no trauma there, but just to say, please don't shout, just gently, and then you're not gonna. When you raise your voice, I'm not going to be there raising my voice because you've triggered the person.
So you see, so the list is help to combat unnecessary emotion. The shopping list, you make a list of the shopping list, but because you can see it logically you say, no, we don't need that just yet. And you just put the things like you touched on, that's very, very important. And if we had that conversation about where we're going to spend Christmas, just verbally, it could go in any which way direction. But a list will help to make it clear and rationalize it. Right?
And there's one other point as well, which I'd like to mention, is that we got to remember that person is on your side. And if you have that in your mind before you even begin speaking, you wouldn't get to that point of you're telling me because they're championing, they're on your side.
Right?
Yeah, they're not your enemy at the end of the day. We all got emotions where, hang on, bro, but
we got some comments in the live chat.
Do you know, Pastor Bishop, sorry, if I can just quick.
Sure.
Bishop has actually mentioned this before when he said, you guys are a team, and so you fight against the problem. You don't point fingers at each other because but the person is not the problem.
Absolutely.
But you have the problem, so you point the finger at the problem together to work on it.
Yes.
All right, so let's quickly just knock these out of the live chat. So it's kicking off,
Messi says, the morning coffee question, I think a list will be useful for writing down future attributes they would like to see in a future partner, but then before they use on another person, use it on yourselves first.
That's interesting.
I can't, and she adds on saying, I can't demand from someone what I don't have.
Drop it like it's hot.
Yeah.
He needs to be a deep Bible reader. I want a man who
like...
just goes into the Bible. He just blah, 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 so he can always give me a word. Do you have a word?
Exactly.
Who was saying that?
Sounds good, doesn't it? Coming out your mouth, expecting it.
Oh my
But
God.
have you put the effort in to have that word in chill?
Where did you get that? It was so funny. Miss Priscilla from Edmonton says, good morning, Breakfast Show family. I love a good list, so I think it can be very helpful in relationships to address areas of improvement.
Love it, Priscilla. Love it.
Miss Janet says, list with shopping is a very good idea. Then you buy what you need.
Drop it like it's hot.
And she goes on saying, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, they are good compromises. We always used to do Christmas Day and Boxing Day, but I think Christmas Day and Christmas Eve is infinitely better. Slindy says, oh, okay, now I understand. Lists can help break bad habits and also help create new good habits, e.g. being aware of your reactions and understanding the roots.
Beautiful.
Can I just say,
okay,
like this thing about spending, because I remember I was saying it and Miss Janet is saying it, how let's say we were spending Christmas with this family last year, and then this year we've agreed we're spending Christmas with this family, and then maybe something happens that really, let's say maybe this family, one family is hospitalized, and then now we have
the whole family?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, like maybe the mom,
the
someone
main
important,
person.
and then it means we have to go again to that family because she's on a sick bed, and then the list is there. What do? You can't.
But you know what? That's the case of like, look, we can't stick to a list. We got to have a bit of flexibility. That's a different situation when you think about it. If you really care about people, you will just think, all right, let's just go. All right, we did it twice already. Maybe do it next time, At the end of the day,
beautiful. Guys, we got to get that was only the first piece. We got 5 segments.
Okay, let's go.
All right.
This is great. We're learning about lists today, guys. Let's go into number 2. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the show. Just thought I'd interrupt. If you haven't done already, smash the robust like and subscribe button. Why not? Why not? You like us, I like you. Why not?
God created us with emotions, and one of the reasons why we have emotions is, for example, so that you can notice that you're feeling something and you need to see a doctor, for example. Or for you to notice that you're keeping a grudge against someone and remember the word that says forgive. So emotions have a place. Emotions are there, for you to, they have a place, but they are not the foundation. And this is what an emotional argument looks like in practice, in a practical way. I'll give you an example. Usually, a couple who argues and are emotional, what is an emotional argument is your main goal is to prove a point, not necessarily resolve the problem that you're arguing about. So emotions, they serve us nothing. Did I say it right in English? Nothing. They profit nothing in a relationship in that sense. You know, I don't know if you've noticed, if you have someone, if you're dating someone, or you are married, you will notice that most of the time, if you're honest with yourself, most of the time when you have an argument, it's not because, no, let's resolve the issue. And he goes, yes, sure, let's do it. No, it's usually, no, I am right, you are wrong. So, and it's like a never-ending situation. So God, when I heard the topic of today, I was reminded of that word that says that without faith, it's impossible to please God. You don't hear the word impossible very often in the Bible. But without faith, it's impossible. So faith is the opposite of an emotion. And an emotion, for me to be emotional in a marriage, for example, is very selfish. Think about it. So, but we are we have a very strong inclination towards self-pity and an emotion. And the same thing with people who are single. You know, God doesn't respond to self-pity. He doesn't respond to that kind of emotion. Oh, you know, I feel this way because I'm still single, or I went through this and that. No, God reacts to an action of faith. Emotions are our problem.
And even people who have the Holy Spirit, you still have emotions. You may be baptized with the Holy Spirit, but you have emotions. You may be an assistant, you may be here, or a member baptized with the Holy Spirit. We have sometimes, even people who are baptized with the Holy Spirit, even pastors sometimes, and wives, who are of God, both of God. But they have problems sometimes because they don't know how to deal with them. Because here's the thing, our emotions, they hijack our ability to think. Our emotions, they take our mind hostage. How many people are in prison because they lost their temper in a restaurant? They started to fight with somebody. What is the power of a to-do list? The power of writing down your problem is that you are able, number one, to identify the problem. Not to put blame, but to identify what? The problem. And number two, you are able then to start saying, this is how I'm going to fix this problem. Look what the Bible says. It says, also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. Verse 18 then says in James 2, and I will show you my faith by my works. You know what is one of the oldest tricks in the book? That many singles fall. Singles, pay attention because this one is for you. One of the oldest tricks in the book for single are singles who meet someone who say, oh, I am a person of God. I believe in God. I go to church. Sometimes the person comes to the universal church. Sometimes they go to another church and they say, no, I am of God. And the person says, Bishop, no, he said he's a man of God. Don't look at what the person says. Look at what the person does. Yeah. Because to say, there are people who are experts, who are great at saying something that will make you believe that that's the best candidate in the world to date you and to marry you. And even if you meet someone and you start dating, it doesn't mean because you started dating, you stop looking, you stop investigating, you stop looking at the person.
Wow, that's a deep one. This has been an ongoing issue in terms of, you know, in the journey of faith. You know, I know that since, you know, I was a youth in the church, there are a number of people that we've lost because of love life, because someone appeared and they said, "Oh, I'm of God," or someone came and started attending the church, and even it still happens, right? And like even gets a thumbs up, and you think, "Oh, they must be okay," or you know what I mean? And someone that you're very close to in the faith, you're on this journey together, whether it's a colleague in VYG or you know what I mean, and then somebody like a jumping jack appears in their life, and they say, "Yeah, of course, yeah, I love it. I've been a Christian for years." We're like, but then they start coming, but then guess what? In those situations, I've seen the person get derailed, and in the end, they didn't even have the person. It's like the person just appeared for the long journey, the long goal, for the person to come out. They were doing well in the faith, but because emotion was, in control at that time, it sounded like this person was God's blessing, but they actually weren't. And this is the thing that happens especially in the faith, especially when you, thank God keeps you for a long time. You see patterns. You see patterns. Like there's some when a jumping jack or jumping whoever or Sabrina or not Sabrina, but jumping Jasmine appears. You're like,
check
okay,
the box.
Let's see what they do. Let's see who they are. And so this is powerful. So even though we're talking about lists, they Miss Helena and Bishop James, they're homing in on the problems that emotions can actually bring. Right, Chris?
Yeah. Yes. Emotions. Emotions fluctuate. They go up, they go down, they spin around and when everything's settled, you come back and then your rational kicks in.
Yeah.
And I used the description earlier on, like the chemistry of it, the vessels of the brain, everything's pumping up, the heart's pumping fast, emotions gone too fast, and boom, it comes out. And then after you think, why did I say that? Why did I say that? Because now it's calmed down, everything's gone back to normal being. But the thing about it is that situation where you say somebody just turns up and then they say, yeah, that's the person because they say they're of God. But you haven't really tested and see, not just going somewhere, I'm going to test this one, tick this off, tick this off, tick this off, and tick that off, right? Yeah. It's a matter of being observant and watching. It's not what someone says, it's their actions.
Watch their reactions,
it's like, when something happens out of the norm, that's their true person coming out.
That's true.
At the end of the day. So it's being aware. And many people do get stolen away from the work of God. I've seen it over and over again.
Yeah.
I've seen someone just turn up and all of a sudden this person starts focusing on the things of God. And next minute they're gone. And like you said, they don't have them and they don't have person after. It's a sad thing. So we got to be vigilant, really, at the end of the day. But there's not a pressure. There's a pressure sometimes. If somebody takes on a pressure, say, I'm single. Oh, I've got to.
I need
That's
to
not
give
in
my
line with God.
testimony. I need to testify. I need to. I bought my wedding dress already. It's an investment. I have to testify.
This is your learning time. This is your time of growth. This is time of the LT, of learning about yourself so you can have something to give at the end of the day. It's not about just getting married straight away. You got to have something to give, your character, who you are, your spirit, and be used by God in that person's life.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to condense things.
Sorry.
Just to add as well, I was thinking, like Bishop was like, you were talking about emotions changing, right? And I'm thinking emotions change, but attributes of what you would like to see in your future person, they don't change. That's who the person is, right? Because I've just remembered that Messi was saying that a list will be useful for writing down future attributes they would like to see in a future person, right? And then, like you were saying, also to use it on themselves before, so that they don't demand what they are not or what they don't have.
That's right.
But but if you have that list to say, okay, a man who fears God, a man who's born of God, a man who respects women, a man with a good relationship with his mom, charity begins at home. So all those things, they're not going to change whether it's a good day or a bad day, whether we feel good or we don't feel good, that person remains who they are. And then the other thing that Bishop said that was interesting was that he said writing down a list helps you to write down your problems, because when you write down the problems, you are able to identify the problem and not to point finger. And number two, how do we solve the problem? So that's that's the importance of a list. It helps you to say, okay, what are we struggling with? Why are we
conflicting.
What's it called?
Knocking
horns.
Yeah,
Knocking heads,
and then you write that down, and then you solve it, and then voila, you're never gonna be like that again, because you know you worked it together against the problem and not pointing fingers at each other. Because the other thing Miss Elaine said that was interesting was that most of the time people argue because I'm right, you're wrong, not because how are we gonna solve the problem? How are we gonna work this out? So I think the list will help to say, okay, this is what the problem is. Let's work against this, not against each other.
Yeah, it's like a war. You know when they sit around the table and they make a strategy. Right, we've got tanks over here, we've got military here. Okay, no, that's fake. That's not real. Okay, we get rid of that. We make sure that you know it's logistical. I'm coming to you, Julia. So key things that Bishop said there. Emotions. Now, first he said people with the Holy Spirit are emotional. You have the Holy Spirit, you're gonna be emotional. That was a key thing there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Emotion. Miss Helena says emotions are selfish. So even though you have God, you can have selfish inclinations. It's part of who we are, and that's what we spoke earlier. We're working out with our relationship with Jesus, right? We come into a new environment with somebody who's a mirror, and we're finding more of our selfish traits. We believe we're right. We want to be right. And so we have things like LT that's helping to teach us that, you know, just be ready to lose to gain Christ at the end of the day. All right. And then last but not least, another key things, emotions hijack our ability to think. All right. So we're seeing why they say, okay, before Julia comes, go ahead, Chris.
Just one little thing to add to that, right? Is you still, even though you're giving, you have to value yourself.
True that.
That's the key thing, because I know if I talk about this, I'll talk about it forever. But you know, so I'll stop there. But you still have to value yourself. You're giving. You're not a walkover.
That's right.
Right. But you have to have intelligent faith.
Intelligent faith. Yeah. Discernment, right? Because Christ, Jesus comes with discernment.
That's right.
Right. To
exactly.
self-evaluate yourself and to evaluate what you're doing.
Yes.
Right afterwards. So that's right. That's interesting. Yes, Julia.
Okay, I'm going to try not to keep it too long, but there's so many gems. Oh my goodness, I'm listening and I'm like, I wish I understood this when I first started out my faith.
Yeah.
Speaking on topic of love life and especially emotions. Okay, we might have to create a separate episode for this. But when I first came to the church, and I came from a religious background, so I never dead faith, just like amen. No. When I saw such active faith, using your faith, doing this, conquering this, testimonies every day, I was really like emotional. I was really like gassed. Like,
are you able to put on a big screen? Are you able to enlarge the Colossus cam?
Yeah, let me try.
But yeah, I was really like gassed. Like, oh my gosh, faith. That. But yeah, I was still unconverted. So that became very emotional faith. But it wasn't because I'm choosing to be emotional. Just lack of understanding. So through that, speaking on the topic of love life, and it's not many people do this. I know many that have done this. They come to the church and they get it's two unconverted people who want to know God, but they're not converted yet. They don't understand, and they get into a relationship. And my friend, you can either become so much more mature from that experience, or that can absolutely crumble your faith, especially in the VYG. I know there's slow down, my dear. Speak slowly. It's okay. No one's rushing you. What's it called? I know there's a lot of VYG tuned in now.
You can look at them there.
My friend, come because let the Holy Spirit speak. Let it not be me. Too many of us, and I'm saying us because I see this as well. You're there, I'm gonna get married one day. Oh my gosh, but yet you don't come LT and you can come. What are you doing? Like, you don't understand. The devil, the main way that he uses young people is love life, is your heart. Because let's be real, let's put the religiosity aside. You see someone good looking in BYG, your heart starts to wow. Maybe even in your mind you're like, okay, I know I can't pursue this because it's not good for my faith. But because you don't invest, before you know it, you're out the faith.
Emotions hijack our
and you're
thinking.
saying, you know, like, nah, God, this will never be my case. But it happens like this. All it takes is for you to put your guard down from your heart for a split second, and before you know it, instead of you giving your testimony of becoming a coordinator, an assistant, saving souls, and getting married the proper way, someone else is giving a bad testimony of you leaving the faith. Saying, don't do this.
It's not worth it.
So you invest, please be smart. Let us be smart, because I need to hear this as well. But
Seho, what's in the live chat?
Oh, okay.
Very strong. Very strong. It's kicking off today, guys.
So Slindy Le says, this message reminds me of a conversation I had with someone regarding the family. We tend to demand something from someone without understanding that maybe they were not taught that. That's good. I'm thinking maybe it's from one of those videos. I don't know, the video where she was the guy, the lady.
Yes, yes.
And then, she goes on to say, we set expectations without living room that maybe that person genuinely doesn't know that that's how things should be done. Instead of coming from a place of understanding, we judge and get annoyed.
True that.
You are a man or a woman of God, but sometimes we forget that we deal with people who are carnal-minded, which makes it hard for them to understand the things of God.
No, sorry. Carry on.
That's it.
No,
that was it.
it's all caught up.
We just triggered something in me. Let's just talk about. You know, I look at it that most times, like you said, plan strategies. I'm going to cut this short, right? Is two people come together. Two completely different backgrounds when they were younger, different experiences, and what you're doing when you come together in the middle here is you're working out. You leave that bit behind, you leave that bit behind. Let's start our new thing here in what we need to do. But you're dealing with two different blueprints of someone's upbringing. So that's why it's good to understand that person instead, their family, who they are, what they came through and everything. That's not to diss them and say, oh, well, because you went through this, anyway. That's probably a way of one-on-one making one at the end of the day, because if you can understand why that person reacts the way they do, and they can understand why you react the way you do because of what happened in the past or whatever, you can have a better understanding, a stronger relationship, and you can let things go over your head which you might be selfishly sensitive about, and kick off every time.
Powerful.
So it's not about you.
Yeah, it's not about you. All right, guys. So this is kicking off now. I'm thinking. You know what? I am thinking of making a book. All right? I'm thinking of making
Good stuff.
I'm thinking of making a book. Basically, the book is going to be about.
Can I be featured?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
It's going to be. But it's going to be. It's going to be a simple book, kinda, because I'm not really a book writer. But it's
I've
going
just
to
done
be.
one, by the way.
I'm a
But go on.
book writer.
You did someone?
Yeah,
Is it?
Go
Which
on.
one?
I'll tell you off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is going to be about 100 questions when dating, or when 100 questions for your love life. So it's going to be set. I'm going to say what it is, but it's going to be set in different areas because different questions for different phases. And this is a really big one, because you might already be going into a relationship, and you might want to ask some questions to find out the person's background, so that you're at a stage where you're serious about the person, and you want to see what could affect before you put a ring on a finger.
I think that's
You know
really
what I
good.
mean? So this is interesting. It's good because there's already books like that already, but this love talk, it really opens my mind.
Yeah,
It's fascinating.
It's practical, it's real, it's experiences, and it's through the author.
Yeah, through the author of love.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's get another one from the author of love. Let's go into there's all fire all over the place today. Very profound, 100%. The message today is top notch, 100% tejo, and made it today. Well done, Jane. Hey, Jane.
It's Jen. She's our assistant in Botswana.
Yeah, I know Jane. We know,
You know
Jane.
Jane?
Yeah, we know Jane.
Hey, Jane, it's a mawala pisa kuru itsa kale
Yeah. I see the.
English, please.
No, don't calm down. Don't calm down. I like when the tail goes into language.
Calma.
Yeah, it's good. All right, guys. Well, it's good to have you back, Jay. It's been a while.
Wow.
Good to have you back. All right, so let's go into this now. This is a breakfast show family, Like we know it's like when there's like something happened, there's pictures. We go, oh, that's that person. That's that. Oh, that's Tejo. That's this. It's great. All right, let's move with the family. Let's go for number 3. Take it away, Colossus.
You find that the person has a couple of social media profiles. Why would someone want a second social media profile unless they run a business and it's a profile for a business? Why would a person need 2? You find out you've been dating for 6 months, for a year, and the person doesn't have one picture of you in social media. Something's wrong. My Facebook profile, my social media profile, how do you call the main picture, the little profile picture is me and her. Why would I put the picture of myself? I want everybody to know when they look. Okay,
He's taken.
it's taken. So when we I have this problem in my love life. Every time we argue about the same things. The same arguments all the time in my marriage, in my relationship. Or I make the same mistakes when I start to date someone. Okay, so you write down what your problem is. And second, how am I going to solve this problem? And then you say, look, from now on, whenever this thing happens, we are going to do this. From now on, when we have a disagreement, we're going to do that. Because if you don't do that, if the person doesn't do that, you are just repeating the same, and people think, oh, we'll be married for 20, for 30 years, these problems will be solved by themselves. They will not. They will not. But if you focus on that issue and you solve it, you work to solve it, and you decide to deal with it differently. You know why I'm saying this? Because you have to understand some things happen, not because the person doesn't love you, not because the person is bad, but people are human. On the other hand, there are many things, like one person here in love therapy many years ago, I never forget. This is more than 10 years ago. We had Valentine's Day passed, and this young woman came to speak to me very angry. Bishop, talk to my fiance. They were both attending church. Talk to him, Bishop. Valentine's Day came and went, and he didn't give me anything. No chocolates, but she was incensed. You know when it's even difficult to control the level of your voice? And I thought, maybe I'm a very bad husband because I don't do that myself. But then I asked her, hold on, is your fiance a man of God? No, Bishop, he is. He has the Holy Spirit. Is he faithful to you? Yes, Bishop. Is he hardworking? Yes, Bishop. Does he keep his promise? Does he honor his word? Yes, Bishop. Would you prefer to receive flowers and he would be a womanizer, a cheat? Not that there's anything wrong with buying flowers or chocolates, okay? If that's important for the other person, you can do that. But sometimes we lose sight. And this is an emotional argument. Because you could say, look, Valentine's Day came and went, and we did nothing. We have to do something together next time. That's a plausible discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Something that is not plausible is to become emotional about it. And most arguments are usually out of emotion because of something trivial sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Just to finish with that Bible verse, James 2:22 says, do you see that faith was working together with his works, and by works faith was made perfect? How do we make our faith perfect? By works. What kind of works? This is what we are going to do, not feel, to do to fix the problem.
Yeah.
And then you fix the problem.
Yes. So as you can see, faith is the opposite. The list keeps you focused, keeps you reasoning. And this verse that you read, and I will show you my faith by my works. This is good for those who are, very emotional in their prayers, talking about love. My God, why? My God, why? But I believe in you. I come to the love therapy. Okay, where are the works? Very few works. So this is a very good self-examination method. I've been praying about something, but I have been emotional about that something. That's why I don't see anything yet.
Ooh, Billy Bow!
You find that the person has a couple of social media profiles. Why would someone want to?
There we go. Fantastic. All right. So this is interesting, guys. So we had lists can make a big. So basically, sometimes if we're going by emotions, we can make a big deal out of nothing, right?
Yeah.
This whole thing about Valentine's Day, I got caught up by that Valentine's Day stuff. Yeah, when I was dating Nicola, I remember Valentine's Day was coming up, and my behavior was this: boy, it's a pagan thing. I don't have time for this. Boy, if she's of God, then she's fine.
Oh my God.
If she's of God, then she's okay. This is it. She's converted. This is fine.
Oh.
So this was 20-year-old Robert. All right. This is it. So I was there. I was in the assistant's room, and then Pastor Bruno comes to us and goes, "So Robert, did you get Nicola a card?" I was like, "No, Pastor. You know these are pagan things." So Robert, did you get Nicola a card? I'm like, Pastor, why would I do that? Because, my friend, hey, even though wherever it may be, it's an opportunity to express yourself.
Yeah.
Just take the ride, get her something, make her feel happy. Yeah. Yes, you've still got time. Okay. I ran down the road, got a nice teddy bear, got all these bits of chocolates to make up. Yeah,
Nice.
and that opportunity taught me something. It just taught me that I can be too rigid and overly religious, you know.
Right.
But thankfully, I had Pastor Bruno at the time to kind of lay down the groundwork and to kind of make me understand. But you know, we need to kind of be humble and reach that rationale, even when working with lists, right?
Yeah. The working with a list at the end of the day, it's funny you gave an example, because just as Miss Helena just said, and the verse where it says, "Show you my faith by my works."
Yeah.
And a lot of things, we are not perfect, but we learnt along the way, like what you just described. You learnt along the way.
Yeah.
Some things I even said earlier on, and like you was just talking about just now, from experiences in the past, learnt for me to be a better. Not saying to everybody, look, go and have a load of relationship and then get better at it, right? I'm not saying that, but you know, you learn from your experiences at the end of the day. So we need to be vigilant of what we do. Yes, we are of faith, but much to what you just said, we can't be religious in that way. We do things right. We do it in line with God, in line with God's will, but we have to really work out where we are with that.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
at the end of the day.
Be flexible, like you said
Be
earlier,
flexible,
when it comes to those things.
but God is first.
Absolutely.
And then something Mrs. Helena said as well was that, like, sometimes things don't change because we're making emotional prayers. And emotional prayers is when you are there and then you're not doing anything. And then that's when the verse came in that, but faith without works is dead. Because if you're just making emotional prayers and then you're not doing something about it, nothing is going to change. So in our love lives as well, when you guys identify a problem, you sit down and you say, this is what we're going to do. That is faith.
I hear
And that is practice, right? That is putting it into work, because you are sitting down, you're making that list. So then using your faith, sitting down and making that list to say, this is the problems that we're going through, this is how we're going to sort them out, this is you using your faith, and that is how things are going to change, because then that is faith in action and not dead faith. Not when you pray and emotionally and then you're getting frustrated with the situation and then, okay, what are you doing about it?
Got a question on that.
Yeah, I just want to chime into that. And that's what's great about the list and about putting faith into action, right? But having works, is the list creates accountability on a fair ground, right? So this is what we've discussed, this is what's happening, this is what needs to be done, this is what we didn't like, this is not good. And it creates accountability to know that we are working on it. Because if the person hasn't done it, we can refer back to the list and be like, come on, we're just gonna, with respect, with grace, we ain't quite there yet. We need to be there. Or maybe the person might be like, okay, let's start praying about it. Let's do a purpose together on this particular thing.
Can I just add before you say something, Mr.
No,
Chris?
please do.
And most of the time we know that when you don't put your faith into action, it means you don't believe.
Yeah.
This is so great, because if you're not sitting down to account for what's making you guys disagree or headlocks, right? Lock heads. It means you don't believe that can change. So you just sat there.
Yeah. And mine was it's because that's what you said. It really made sense right there. Let's ask a question, and I put it amongst us at the same time. There's somebody sitting there right now who are on the edge of coming into faith, who are not in the faith. What do we say to those people in that sense then? Somebody else there who's out there, how do we make them realize, look, you know what, there's a better field here? Because how do we learn? How do we learn? Get rid of it. All right, I'll say it.
Okay, I was gonna
say LT, but go on. Come to LT.
Yeah, yes.
Come to LT. And then you
Right.
Okay.
Anyway,
That's
go
what-
on.
Concerning
Yeah.
their love life, right?
Yeah, your love life,
How
yeah.
we meant in the faith in general, like concerning love life.
Exactly, because we're talking from perspective of faith, and we are of faith. I have no doubt about it at the end of the day. But there's somebody on the outside sitting there listening who's not, who's thinking about it now. What do they need to learn to come to actually see that, look, this really works? And I'd say this, it just came to my examples of what's actually going on, the difference between a relationship before and a relationship in faith. You got to taste and see at the end of the day.
So we have love seminars, right, on Thursdays.
Yeah.
And because love life problems or as far as two people who are different trying to build something is concerned, that whether you're in the faith or you're not in the faith, we all go through that challenge whereby it's two different people in the house trying to build something, and at some point something is going to happen whereby maybe you don't disagree because you're two different people. So but this love seminars, it's an opportunity for you who is listening to us, for you to come and learn as well, because as long as you are set at home, like I said, you have to wonder if you really believe that things can change. But if you want things to change, then you need to do something about it. So come to these love seminars every Thursday at 8 o'clock and learn about these tips that you can use for your love life.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So thankfully the resources are accessible wherever you are on the planet. Like literally there's a help center there for you. All right.
Mercury, Venus, we still make it.
We'll make it to Venus, we'll make it to Mars before Elon Musk.
Yes.
All right, guys, let's go to, I think this is our fourth part, right? All right, let's go for number 4.
I want to give you a perfect last example. You came to Singles Hour, and you came tonight, and you came with the expectation. You prayed, maybe you even prayed, Lord, guide me to meet someone of God there. And you came, and maybe it so happened that today you didn't get to meet someone that was what you expect. To be emotional is to say, I'm never going to Singles Hour again. That's an emotional response. But the pragmatic response is, okay, what else can I do? The pastor spoke about the dating app. Maybe you're not in the dating app yet. Talk to Pastor Peter. Pastor Peter, can I please join the dating app? The dating app of the church, not Tinder and so on. The dating app of the church. Okay, this is a pragmatic, intelligent response. Maybe another response is, okay, so today I didn't really meet someone as I expected, no problem. Don't we do chains of prayer in the church? Do a Singles Hour chain of prayer. Next one, you come as well. Let's see what's going to happen. Because the thing is, look what the Bible says. The Bible is our ultimate authority. God's word says, in the morning sow your seed. In the evening, do not withhold your hand, because you do not know which one will bear fruit, the one you planted in the morning or the one you planted in the evening. You came to Singles Hour. You joined the dating app, then you think, what else can I do? And then you go to another branch one day for the inauguration, you go there. We had the inauguration in Sheffield, right? You go there, you look around, see, my God, maybe I go there to the inauguration and the man you chose for me is there. I've never met him. Maybe you go to a pastor. Pastor, how are you? And then, Pastor, do you know anybody there in your branch that wants to serve God together with me? Bishop, but then I will seem desperate. I think it's better to do that than to forget about resisting anxiety like we learned with the ribbon, and then we go and do things wrong. We had an assistant in Portugal many years ago. Very sad story. Very, very sad story. She met someone who was very new in the church and didn't do the due diligence, the list. Because when you date, you also do a list. Number 1, check if the person has the Holy Spirit. Number 2, check the person is faithful to God. Check this. The person didn't do the list and went against the advice of everybody. Okay, we're not going to stop anyone from getting married. You get married, it's your choice. The situation was so dire that after this person got married, a couple of months later, people had to go and visit her because her husband would tie her to the radiator in the house with chains for her not to leave the house. Isn't that sad? But when it seems, by the way, if you have Univer video, we have a TV series there called How Far Will She Go? Who's watched How Far Will She Go? Have you watched? Listen, this TV series is not there to scare anybody. It's reality. It's reality. Because momentarily, it looks like the person hit the jackpot. And the person even says, you see, you guys are waiting. I'm making my way. And then, are there times where the situation doesn't become so bad? Yes. But the person always has that thing, I am with someone who's not of God. And a person who's not of God, what can that person do? Because what prevents the person from hurting you, from being unfaithful to you, is not the fact that they love you. It's not the fact that you are beautiful or handsome. It's the fact that they fear God. Movie stars, models, right, are the ones people look at them and aspire to be like them. But they're cheated on left, right, and center. Why? Because your beauty, your goodness will not make someone not cheat on you. Is the fact that the person fears God. But in order to make that decision has to be a decision of intelligent faith. Not intelligence alone, but intelligent faith. You want to solve the problems you've been having in your relationship with your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend. You want to solve that? You have to use your intelligent faith. We're not going to be emotional about this anymore. We're not going to raise our voices anymore. We're not going to do this anymore. This is how we're going to solve our problem from now on. And then you start walking towards that direction.
You really have to put your feet in the ground, from what I'm hearing Bishop say, for you to kind of move the needle in maybe whatever you could be experiencing or we could be experiencing in our love life. You know, when I heard the story about lists, right? Because I'm a person that I see the benefit of lists, and like I'm someone that I would literally make a list and I'll say, look, hang on, check this out, blah blah blah. But my wife, the way she's with lists, she'd probably roll her eyes and be like, you know what I mean? And be like, really? But for me, I'm like, this is the bee's knees. However, during the rolling of the eyes, because this is what Bishop's coming to, is that we started off logistical to some sense, but are we going to continue to be using our rationale? Or are we going to go into emotion because the person is not responding the way that we want? You know, so the list is a great idea, you know, and it helps to get to the nitty gritty. But even if we have the person who doesn't respond the way that we want, we have to choose to stay rational, because that's what faith does, right? Yeah. We get inspiration from God, or we do something by faith, and what do? We make sure that we honor that conversation with God. We honor that response that we got from God. So, for example, like we hear Bishop speaking about people who say, I'm going to make my way. You know, I'm making my way. I've got someone now. You have no one. You're still single. Like, look at you. You're by yourself. You know, I've got Tyrone. You know, so Tyrone is there. He's coming Sunday morning, sitting there in the service, right? But something, you know, like I'm making my way. I've got Tyrone. But the thing about it is, the person. See the issue. So we've got the person who's being in emotion because they're taking a shortcut with Tyrone, right? But then you've got the other ones who are watching that and they're making their way in faith, right? But they could start to feel a certain way because they start to think, oh yeah, she doesn't look happy with Tyrone. But the thing about faith is, it's for the long haul. It's for the long journey. We see beyond that. That's why, for example, we spoke about earlier, we've seen, and you even touched on during the time out, that we've seen so many car crashes in relationships along the journey. So it's not even about how we feel now. It's not even about what we do now. We may come with a list now, but you know, we might not get the perfect result that we want. We may see someone now and we might feel the desire to cut corners. We might see someone looks happy and like, oh, they got someone from this place, you know, maybe I should too, right? But faith makes us look at the long haul, because that's what faith is. Faith is before God, and he looks at the long journey, and that helps to keep us rational.
Yeah.
Can I add?
Yeah,
Sure,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the list then can make you feel like, ooh, this is taking a long time, isn't it? Because you look at your list and you're like, no, but it has to be a man of God. And then you see somebody who's like physically attractive, but then, okay, Pastor Bishop was saying, okay, besides the beauty, how is that person gonna treat you? Now that is based on, are they born of God? Because if they fear God, if they respect God, then they will not respect the person next to them. Even more the person that they're always with, isn't it? Because we're always taught that the person that you get to marry, or you're dating and you get to marry, it's like a seed. So God has entrusted you with that. So you need to serve that person.
That's right.
Look after that person. So then if you look at your list, and then I'm thinking we shouldn't be tempted to to brush it aside just because the emotions in that moment is like, hey, but if I miss out on this fine person, where am I gonna get such a fine person? You need to believe and just stick to your list, and then God's gonna bring the whole deal at the right time. But emotions can blind you to just go for it in that moment, and then you'll see why you needed those things on a list along the run, somewhere.
Because the thing is, people will complain. People, I think we said something, touched on it lightly before, but we will complain. Like, we cut the corner, and then when the problems happen, we complain as if we're the victim.
Yeah.
Emotion makes us play the victim because we don't have logic as our standing. Right, so what do? We switch to emotion and we become the victim, and that's one of the common characteristics in, I think, this past decade, right? When people don't have a logical bearing on something, whether it's to do with, taking accountability for their actions or choices or anything like that, they switch to playing the victim. Like,
and we blame God most of the time.
And they blame God as well. If they're a person of faith, they will blame God, which is even deeper. And if it's between two people in a relationship, like, it was you and I'm right? So they'll switch to victim mode. So human beings are complex, man.
We're very complex, and the thing we're asking within all that is God's will or your will.
That's true.
That's the real thing that just kind of sounds it. Because the thing about it, even when you make your list as well,
and things to address,
things to address and all that, which is very, very important. But you got to have your bit. Like I said, we was talking about the whole thing of flexibility and all at the same time, and realize God's will or your will. That's just it.
So if you have somebody in your life that they have the offer of love, then their desire will be for the will of the offer of love. You're in agreement with that. But if you have someone, and God probably showed you like, they don't have the offer of love, then that's going to be a challenge, because they have their own rule book, right? Or they might not even respect your rule book. They might not respect, there's no mediator. The only mediator you have is just what they think. Right? And so obviously if we come to God and we're already in a relationship, the Bible says, look, man, they have, pray. You got to pray for that person. God will set a good example, be a good testimony to that person. But if you're single and you have a choice, Father, life is complicated enough. Don't go out there because your heart beats triple bounce. You go and make a new complication for your life. Jesus is alive. He's for us. He wants to help us to have a good life. Don't complicate it.
Do you know what? Go on.
Go ahead.
I'm just thinking, like, growing up, we were always being told, mostly in Godlywood, that the rules that God gives to us, it sounds like, we don't have like freedom to just do things our own way. But those things, it's like, those things on the side of the road, I forgot what they're called, but and then there's the side, it's to keep cars right here, not to go on the side and then have an accident or crash or whatever. It's just it's for the safety of the cars to stay on the road. So we were told that it's for our own safety, and sometimes it doesn't make sense until you put yourself in that situation, but best we avoid, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So
drop it like it's hot.
So then I'm thinking the list, it's there, but it's gonna you're saving yourself from even losing your salvation along the line, because you don't know how it's gonna be. But you also don't want to find out, because if some of those things are on the list and you feel like sometimes I think you can even feel like maybe I'm being too religious, maybe this is a bit unreasonable. But if there are the things that will make you, if there are the things that really, let's say one of the things is you're looking for a partner who respects God, who's born of God, then you know that all these other things, all these other arguments or other because we're all different, we're all a work in progress, right? We're not perfect, but at least if we have God as the foundation, if our faith is in God, then God is going to direct us as individuals, and then we will know how to treat the other person.
Love it.
God's will.
Yep, that's
God's
it.
will.
So, final words, Chris. Oh, sorry, we've got some comments here. Let's just fire
Sure.
some of these comments very quickly. All right, and
Okay.
while you're doing that, I just want to put on the screen our Telegram. So we got one more segment, but what I've done is I've posted it into our Telegram channel, the Breakfast Show broadcast channel, so you'll be able to have a quick look at it. The final segment to the conversation today, because we literally have run out of time. It's just it's a couple of minute or so, but definitely make sure you go into our Telegram and have a look at that. If you're not on the Breakfast Show Telegram, that's the link there. Just search it in Telegram. And if you're not in there yet, because you don't have Telegram for some strange reason, just message us on the Breakfast Show WhatsApp line. It's on your screen right now. Make sure you save that. Yes. So what do we have there?
So Tobias from Woolwich is saying that is really good and useful to help both couples to know one another better and do things the right way without skipping the key steps whilst in the relationship.
True that. Very true.
True. Anonymous says that doesn't excuse anything. He says it's childish. Sanalisi says, oh wow, there's a data here, very interesting.
Yeah, speak to your pastor of your branch. He'll tell you all about it.
Yep. Slindy says, the lady really paved her disaster. How far will she go is a must watch.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
21 days.
Yeah.
Check that out, guys. Strong testimony. True story.
Annabelle says, I've watched How Far Will She Go. Now I need to watch the male vision. Maybe after the first, How Far Will he go? Isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And yep.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Brilliant. I love it. Love the cinematography. Brilliant.
Slindle is replying to Annabelle and says, girl, How Far Will He Go is fire. I was 3 episodes in and I was like, I haven't watched How Far Will He Go, but I will after Paul. I'm still on Paul.
It's refreshing. It's refreshing the way that it is. Literally, the way the colors are. It's because the other one's more colder. The way the cinematography is, and you go through the story. So it's good that they rizzed it up a bit more. You'll love it. You'll love the story. It's very powerful.
I'm still on Apostle Paul.
Yeah.
And when I saw that Peter was the guy in How Far Will She Go? The guy that abused the girl right on that wedding night.
Yeah.
I was like, I cannot unsee this guy being the apostle now. But it's a really interesting.
The thing of acting,
All right, so how we did? We good? Yeah, girl. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so just to get your final words, Chris, for today.
Final words. Well, to be honest, I was going to say a lot more, but let's say final words. You know what? A list is good. That's one thing.
Yeah.
You've got a vision, know what you want, what you're going to do. Working on a relationship, it's good to have a list, but realize that, look, this isn't about them. This is about you, and you've got to be able to listen as well. And that's when we find out about our spiritual maturity.
Yeah.
How far we go. Can we actually listen? That's saying vice versa as well. The other thing I'll add to that is value. Value as well at the same time. It's not everything that somebody says. That's
right.
So you got to have
Discernment.
intelligence and discernment.
Yeah, I
The
hear
other thing as well, just to jump back on something else I mentioned earlier on, is people meeting people list, and also why is that person attracted to you?
That's a very good question.
Why is that person attracted
and they
to
cannot
you?
say, oh, because you're a man of God or you're a woman of God. Wrong answer. Wrong answer.
You almost said wrong answer.
Wrong answer. Rah.
And you know what? That came up last night in that testimony as well. That young lady, when he said he wanted to be a girlfriend on the walk, and she said, why? And it threw him. That would throw somebody.
Yeah.
You know, so exactly. The everyday thing is, you got to think, why they're interested? Because if they're not of God, they're only interested in external.
That's right.
Right? Because they don't know you yet
right.
at the end of the day. So you got to reverse that question in kind of way as well.
You see, because imagine the word of God says that a wise man looks into a matter.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
when we're of God, guess what? It's more than just a pretty face.
Yeah.
Right? It's
to
more
look
than
deeper.
we look into the matter. Because I would even ask myself, why do I like this person? What does this person bring to
Yeah.
me? And that's why, and that's when, for example, those little idiosyncrasies that a person might have where, you know, where you will love them. Right, someone, oh, you're too OCD, and the person will be like, okay, this person's OCD, it's a bit too much, but I can see how this can help me on my journey of faith.
Yeah.
See, things translate differently because a person of God looks into a matter. So that's a very powerful question.
Yeah.
Why do you like me? Oh, because you're a man of God.
Haven't thought it out. Haven't thought it out.
Go. Pray.
That's a bit.
Come back later.
Sugarcoat.
Thank you for that one. Remember that one, guys. Why do you like me? Yeah. Tell last word.
No.
You good?
Yeah.
All poured out.
And we're all caught up here on the chat as well.
Fantastic. All right, sound crew, you guys have been absolutely amazing today. I know they've been to the chippy.
No, because I'm teaching her, so that's why.
Oh, you see, guys, just let the Holy Spirit take the credit. It's not every day.
Like, but I'm being honest, I'm teaching her, so what can I do?
It's okay to be taught to do more.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you.
Guys like a show in a row, man.
Eva, now at 10:18, you want to say it's time to connect. Connect tomorrow. It's too late, my dear. You're too late.
What do you want to say to the listeners, you know, for them who to connect onto the Telegram and the social media, Julia? Big screen,
Guys,
please.
So sorry. There's so many things coming. I'm not just talking about like, nice pictures, a nice video, projects, people that are coming. Guys,
Expand
if you
the
want
screen.
to elevate your life, because you're not you're tuning in for entertainment, it's funny, yay, this guy's trying to be funny, but
Big screen.
in general, your life can elevate for free, because the breakfast show is free, the content we do for free, and you receive real gems that you pay for outside. You pay to have a life coach, mentor outside to teach you these things. So value it and share it with your friends. Guys,
Let's let coaches.
stop being hold on. Can you stop being an enemy of progress? Like the things, repost, send it to your friends. Anonymous people, come out of anonymous, talk on the chat, engage. But yeah, we're on a journey and you're gonna love it.
All right.
And
Yes.
Kelly. Me, I'll watch.
Okay, that's enough there. All right, thank you. Can you stop threatening them, please? All right, but that was good. Thank you so much, guys. All right, but those of you who got the side eye and the comments,
No, but it's all up. It's all up.
it's all out of love. This is the Breakfast Show family. This is the Breakfast Show family, guys. We're here every morning from 8 o'clock all the way till 10 with that Vim Goss and determination to start the day. We're going to be having a replay Friday tomorrow. Please type in our Telegram what program you'd like to have revisited this week. We had our More Music Monday. We had our Tuesday program where we looked at, what was Tuesday's one again, Colossus? Tuesday we looked at
Find that prosperity with
Moses King Ganga, financial intelligence, the importance of financial intelligence. Huge program, helped everyone a lot. Wednesday we looked at health benefits of dark chocolate, the dark side of chocolate for your health. That's what we looked at on Wednesday, and with our workout, and today Relationship Power Thursday. So make sure you type in the live chat. There's a Telegram search. If you're not on WhatsApp, make sure you are. Tell me, Colossus.
Can I tell you, like, for them, they are the one who are watching the program.
Yeah.
So they need to help us to decide which program we're going to play tomorrow. Or if they want to, like, one in the morning and one in the afternoon.
Okay, yeah.
It's better to say it.
That's true, because there's a 4 p.m. replay. So
otherwise, we're just going to play the one from today.
Yeah, I hear that.
We're going to choose one.
I don't think they will hate the one from today anyways. I think they don't want to know.
Yeah, because it's so soon, you know. But we'll see how it goes. All right, guys. So this is your show. This is your program. It happens because of you, guys. You've been awesome, and thanks for putting up with my condition. You know how we do. All right, you guys are awesome. All right, and Table Justice.
Sorry.
Let's go. It's my condition.
Is
It's just seeping through. It's a condition. It's a condition.
Hold it down.
Yeah, yes, okay. All right. Until next time. Oh, by the way, 4 p.m. is all of a replay. Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Over this way.
Oh.
For now.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.
Follow the Instagram right now. Bye.
I really hope you enjoyed this episode of the program. We have a lot more episodes covering a lot more themes on The Breakfast Show. And guess what? Your experience can be even deeper and more interactive because we are live weekdays from Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on libertyradio.co.uk. On that Liberty Radio platform, we have a whole host of other inspirational material. As well as that, we have our breakfast show in the mornings. Check it out. There's a live chat, there's a video feed, and you can get up to date on all the breakfast show antics and fun, vim, excitement, and all that kind of crazy stuff that we love to enjoy. This is Robbie here, Robust Presenter, and I hope to see you live and enjoy the next one.